Hi, Xavier. I'm just looking at your document. It looks like you're not set up quite right here. If I go to the black arrow tool, I can go to edit artboards. And let's just make this, let's just 3" by 3" IN and enter that. It's still in points, which is not what we want. Let's do document setup actually. So file document setup. We want to put this in inches and then push OK. And now when we go in here, it should say 3 by 3 inches instead of points. So make sure you do that on your file. I think you got a couple extra like little marks out here that you don't really need. Not sure why there's a white spot on that. It's kind of weird. So if you want to round your edges, I guess I'm doing it right now. I'm not quite sure why that's got that weird little thing there. It actually does look pretty cool with the X rounded slightly. I'm not sure why you have that white little bit in there. It's just kind of strange why that's happening. I like the imperfectness of this actually. I think it actually looks pretty cool. Let's see. One thing you could do to get rid of that, you could do a file export selection. This is the folder that it's going to export to. It's going into my downloads, but I'm just going to put it on the desktop because I think it's easier to find things on the desktop. I'm going to choose that. Let's make it a JPEG 100. Make sure this says 300 ppi. If it doesn't, put it on resolution and put 300 ppi in here. And this will go on the desktop as a 300 ppi JPEG file, JPEG 100 file. So make sure it's set up like this. Make sure it's going to go to your desktop. You click on that to navigate it to your desktop, push choose, and then export that asset. And it will look like this. It'll be named asset something or other typically. So let's get back into here. Let's do a file place. Let's bring in the asset file, place that in, click and hold it, let up at the size we want it to come in at. Let's do an image trace, black and white logo, expand. Get on the white arrow, click off to deselect everything, and then just start deleting that white background. And then let's fill this in black. So now I'm able to get at that. If I click and drag to get both of these shapes selected, I can use the Pathfinder tool. Because that little white shape came in as that little white image, this little white thing became a shape. So let's just Pathfinder it. This is the Unite button in Pathfinder right here. If you hover over that, it will unite shapes. So now it's one solid chunk. That's going to be better than the one you have. I don't know exactly what happened to that to make it white, but we can fix it. And then I can put it underneath. I think it's maybe a little bit bigger than it was. So push shift on your keyboard when you're making things a different size. This little thing could probably be brought up a bit in size, maybe 6 points. This second circle, I would make it a little bit bigger. Push shift on your keyboard to keep it perfectly circle. You can have it off center like this because I kind of liked how that looked because it goes with the imperfectness of the whole thing as a whole. But let's make this a little wider. And we can change the stroke profile on this. You could make it, if you click on the word stroke, you can change the profile. This is uniform, this is the default, but there are other options. Some of these work better than others, some of them are not great. Sometimes you might want to keep it on uniform and maybe you just want to use the width tool. And you can click, let's see, the width tool looks like a banana almost. And you can click and kind of drag out thicker sections. So let's see, what is that looking like? That looks kind of good. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think this part kind of bothers me for some reason. So, I mean, if we want to move this around, you can maybe bring this out. You have to push shift sometimes and click on the anchor points, the blue anchor points. There are handles come off the anchor points as well. They're blue. Sometimes it helps to zoom in to be able to see these things a little bit better. This is the anchor point here. These are the blue handles coming off of it. Oh, there is something here. Delete that. Okay. Let's see. Sometimes you can use the smooth tool too. It's underneath the shaper tool. If you click and hold down, you'll find the smooth tool. You do have to have your thing selected, so go ahead and select that, and then get on the smooth tool, and then you can smooth out this edge. If there's any edges with, like, you know, areas that you just don't like, you can use the smooth tool to kind of make them look a little bit better. There's kind of a chunk here too that I want to experiment with and try and get. It's not really helping that much with it. One thing that might help, you can delete anchors too with the delete anchor point. It's underneath the pen. If you hold down the delete anchor, you can start deleting. When there's a lot of extra anchors, sometimes it makes sort of a mess, but I don't know. Once you get your X looking, you know, you don't have to necessarily do that, but I do think it makes it look a little bit more pleasing to the eye to kind of smooth this out. It's mostly this area that I didn't really like. It's a little bit better than it was. It's still not great. Maybe something a little bit more like that. It's a little bit better. So I think, I wonder, since you already have an X there, I wonder if you could do it like this. You could maybe just do this, because you have an X. It's a clearly recognizable X, really. I'm going to center the paragraph text in the text box, and I'm just going to make the text box as wide as the artboard. And then this font is pretty good. It might not size down super well just because of the thin stroke of white in between all the, or inside of all the letter forms. I would choose a different font, definitely, for trading ink. I do kind of like this font actually, but this font, I would choose a different font. This one actually looks pretty good. Aliens and Cows. I probably downloaded that, so you can always look up off of dafont.com. That's a legitimate font site. You can download it. That will go into your downloads, and then you can open up your downloads folder. And oops, that's the wrong thing. The TTF file is here. I already have it on my computer, but then you can install that font if you like Aliens and Cows. If you want to do the one that I found here, I would make it a little bit bigger so it sizes down okay. And I would even make this maybe a little bit bigger. And then don't forget to outline your fonts. So if you click on that with the black arrow, that text box, you go to create outlines at the bottom of the properties panel. It creates shapes. And then you have your logo here. One thing also with this one, I don't really like the capital T, so I'm going to Command Z before I did that, before I outlined, and I'm just going to do this. So it's all one size. Maybe make it a little bit bigger, and then now I'll create my outlines. Okay, maybe something like that. I'm not totally crazy about Aliens and Cows. I guess it's not too bad, but I think I like it better than what you had before for sure. Maybe we will center this a little bit better and save this as a file save. You know, let's just pretend your logo design, let's do file save as. Let's do a file save as. Let's pretend like we're in our documents and we have a logo design folder that we already started. And we're going to do make sure this is something like this. So we want the BW in there because this is the black version, black and white. We want it to be an Adobe Illustrator. Save that. Okay. Then you do your file export. You have to do this after you outline your fonts, of course. Use artboards. You want a JPEG file. Export. Put this in grayscale for the black and white one anyway. When you export out the CMYK one, the one with color, you'll export it out in CMYK. So you will have to pay attention to these JPEG options when you're exporting. High resolution. If you did this in CMYK, I wouldn't be upset about it, but technically grayscale for a black logo is going to work better. Push OK. And then we can do a file save as and name this CMYK. Save. OK. Then you can start adding your color. Obviously, you can find colors. If you want custom colors, you can just double click. Oops. You can just double click on these and find some colors that you like. Okay. Save that and then export out your JPEG in. Remembering to check use artboards because that's really important. Export CMYK high resolution. Okay. So, and then you would zip that file up. I do go over in Brightspace how to zip the files up, and even how to, I think even how to export out your JPEGs correctly. I did create a video for that. I think it's in the assignment area of the logo design. So if you need to review that, go ahead and review that. But hopefully this was helpful. And actually this is kind of a zany logo. The fonts could be experimented with a little bit, but I do like this quite a bit. All right, talk to you later. Bye.